Hello, this is Les Brown speaking with Twins of Media on Beautifully Said TV. Make sure you watch. It'll bring out the greatness in you. For the opportunity to be able to talk with you and your sister about the work that I do, because the work that you do helps to expand the awareness of what people need to do to be creative. And your lives in itself is just a good example of being an entrepreneur and being innovative and making things happen. You have to have a vision of what it is you want in life. It's been said the two most important days in your life, the day that you're born and the day that you realize why you were born. I was born to do the work that I'm doing, and that is making a mark, giving people hope, and I use my voice. I believe that whatever you are doing, you're an entrepreneur, you're a consultant, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, your voice represents you. It is the instrument that you have to use to bring people to you, to attract people to you. And so when you look at the work that we do, the values, what is it that's important to you? You know, what's important to me is leaving a legacy. My name is very important to me, and I told my kids, I said, I have built a very strong name. You mentioned Les Brown, people know you got to be hungry, that he's the motivator. He's been motivating people for years, and so my kids, they have started something called the First Family of Motivation. So it's very rewarding as a father, as a grandfather, and a great-grandfather to still see the work that I have put in place to be going on for several generations.
Now, you have been a motivational speaker spanning many decades. Who and what inspires you to keep doing all of this over and over again?
You know, I was speaking in Johannesburg, South Africa, and Poland, and in fact, I'm going back at the end of the month where we'll be speaking to over 40,000 people, Switzerland, London, England, and I'll be speaking in Australia. And I'm always asked the question, what is it that drives you? What motivates you? And it's really still my mother, that I'm adopted, and I always felt that God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And even though my mother has passed, I feel the work that I'm doing. She's with me. I feel her presence. And it's very rewarding because she was a person who always helped someone. I remember a reporter interviewed her when I had a talk show and said, how did you know you could adopt and raise 7 children by yourself? And her response was, I just felt the Lord would make a way somehow. And there are things that I've tackled, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just felt the Lord will make a way somehow. And here I am at the top of this industry and recognized by many as an icon or a legend or the #1 motivational speaker. But I never compare myself to others because I feel whenever in my presentations, I just say, I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy.
Love it. Love it. As a youth, you were expected to fail by those who probably felt that you were unteachable. And so remembering what that felt like, what do you tell that young boy or girl who deals in similar negativity and, you know, being counted out before they're given the opportunity to succeed?
Well, I'd like to say something to the teachers and to parents that we shouldn't label children, we should label jars. I was labeled educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade and failed again when I was in the 8th grade and I have no college training. There are people like myself who learn differently. If you told me to write a speech, I could not do that for you. Okay. However, I'm one of the highest paid speakers in the world. So, but I can give you a speech verbally. And so what I would say to young people who've been labeled is something that my high school teacher, who I had the opportunity to eulogize, said to me when they were calling me DT, and I used to get in fights a lot, and he said, young man, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life, that he told me I didn't have to buy into what they said. And so I remember when I was in the dean's office and I had gotten in a fight for being there, and he said, anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. And I said, how do I get even? He said, you have a very good memory. I said, I do. And he said, the best revenge is massive success. Those are the words of Frank Sinatra. You want to get even with people? Become massively successful. And so that's what I focused on doing. mastering something that I love, which is helping people, and training and developing other speakers, teaching them how to tell their story and how to be strategic and experiential in expressing themselves and transform people's lives individually and collectively in the course of telling their story.
Wonderful. We so appreciate you for doing it, because people do learn differently, and that's the beauty of it. I want to go into one of the reasons why you're here. Why is it so important, if you could conclude, why is it so important for us to be able to see, speak, and assess our own worth, that we can actually embrace what you so often say, which there's greatness in you? Because you'll leave, you'll get on the plane, and you'll go back home. Mm-hmm. But how do we in Houston retain the information that you give to us?
Well, that's very easy today. All you have to do is go on Google, put in Les Brown, and I have videos that's changing people's lives all over the world. You watch them every day, it will change your life. One of the things that I think that has happened that many people are sleeping on, 2007, Time magazine said the computer is the person of the year. Why was that important? For the first time in the world, in the history of the world, everyday people, average people, have access to information that wealthy people have, all right? And knowledge is the new currency. So you can go on Google and learn anything. My son took his car to be repaired. The person said $300. He said, I just can't see that, paying that. He went on Google and learned how to do the same thing in less than 3 minutes. And so, so today, we have the opportunity to learn anything that we want to learn, to be exposed to motivational messages, and it won't cost them a dime. So I'm excited about that, and one of the good things about it, though, they have to come to me to teach them how to speak. You can't Google that.
No, you cannot definitely Google that. I want to ask you a fun tidbit question. I'd like to kind of infuse a little bit of fun into the interview. We're twins, and you're a twin, of course.
Yes.
And so has there ever been a time where you just didn't feel like speaking or doing anything that maybe you thought about your brother switching places, or what that has been believable?
When we were kids, we were fraternal twins. Okay. We used to, we looked much more alike when we were kids, smaller, and we used to switch places. But I got upset with my brother and didn't speak to him for a long time. And then I went to see a movie. Okay. It's called 5 Heartbeats. And in there, a guy forgave his brother. And I left the theater with tears in my eyes. And I called him and I said, you know, Wesley, we love each other, and we're all we got, and I love you, and let's put this behind us and move forward. And he did. And now my brother and I, we're extremely close. We're very different. We're very different. Yeah. You see him, he will have gray hair everywhere. Homie, don't play that.
No way, Jose.
No, my kids say, you look distinguished with your gray hair, Daddy. I said, I'm not trying to look distinguished at 70. I'm trying to look young.
You look wonderful. You look
Thank
wonderful.
You.
We want to go into Vane. You're a mentee. You've been his mentor for years. And I want to ask you first, as his mentor and leading him, what have you learned from Vane?
Vane is a young man who has class. Most of the young men that I want Vane to impress are suffering from what I call HIV, hood-infected virus, AIDS, addiction to incarceration and death syndrome. Vane knows how to dress and present himself. He's articulate. He has high standards on how he carries himself. And he has a vision of what he wants to do with his life. Most young men today, they have a vision of themselves as entertainers, and that's why they rather make marks on their bodies rather than think about how do I make a mark with my life. It's following the crowd. And so I'm very impressed with him, and I believe that he has the capacity to reach a generation that I cannot reach. He's a thinker, and he has initiative and ambition to leave a mark, and he's the future of this industry.
And what other events do you have coming up?
Well, in September, I'm doing a training in Orlando, Florida, where I'm based out of. And people can go to lesbrown.com and see the dates on that. And it's called I Have to Speak, and it's teaching people how to take their story and make a difference, but also how you can build a business in this industry. This is the age of what the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity. and tremendous competition, and your ability to communicate, your ability to build relationships, your ability to sell an idea or concept can empower you to create a fortune. You literally can earn millions of dollars in this industry. And so that's why in our community, if you wanted to help people, the first thing people say, well, you ought to become a preacher. Well, we don't want to teach people how to live after they die and catch hell now. We want to teach people how they can live right now. And so that's what we're doing, is teaching young people how to give people hope and methods of what they can do to create a life that they can feel proud of.
Well, thank you, Les Brown, for interviewing with Beautifully Said Magazine, the Twins of Media. Such a joy. We love you. And I have to say this before we conclude this interview. We reached out to you in 1993 originally, and you were gracious. You gave us a call back. Our cousin was not the best at taking messages, so we didn't connect.
Yeah.
But we've been chasing you since 1993. It's 2015.
Oh, well, I'm glad you caught me.
So we finally caught up
and
with
in the
you.
process of catching me, you threw your cousin under the bus.
Yes,
All right.
I did. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you
Brown.
very much
you
for
so
having me.
much.
I appreciate you.